Hi, everyone. It's another episode of the GTHL Breakout Podcast. I'm Steph Karate. I do communications for the GTHL, and I'm so excited to welcome our two guests today. First, GTHL graduate and Toronto Marlboros alumni at Los Angeles Kings prospect, and founder of Zale Apparel, Akil Thomas. So thanks so much for joining us, Akil.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And then, of course, we have a former Toronto Marlboro player himself, current general manager of the club, Dave Nicoletti. Thanks so much for jumping on with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So there's a pretty cool connection here, and it goes beyond the ice, which is always pretty awesome to talk about these stories. The Toronto Marlboros are celebrating their 90th anniversary, and this anniversary marks the Marlboros joining the THL, which is now what we all know as the GTHL. For the 90th season, Akil, with your apparel company Zale, you've designed a pretty awesome third jersey. So we're just wondering, how did this whole collaboration come about? Whose idea was it?
Yeah, well, I think kind of when COVID originally hit, I emailed, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I emailed someone from the Marlboros. It might have been you, Dave. I don't even remember exactly, but I just remember I went on the website and just found someone to email and was like, hey, I did these jersey hoodies with the Ice Dogs and with Pete, who I played with in the OHL. I'd love to do them for the Marlies. So if there's any way you guys be interested, let me know. And I believe that season ended up getting canceled or something. And then they obviously didn't have a season the year after that. So I guess for this upcoming year, they kind of circled back. And I remember getting the email being like, oh, like they actually want to do it now. So that was really cool to get that email saying like, hey, we got our email, I think like a year ago, like I wanted to follow up with you on if we could get these produced or not. So that's kind of how it started. And then from there, I just did my thing with our design team. And originally we just kind of sent them mock-ups, and then Dave and whoever else in the Marlboro organization decided they're going to do third jerseys for the season. So to find out that was going to happen, that was the coolest thing that come out of all of this, just for everyone to rock the jerseys in the organization was definitely the coolest thing, and something I'll actually always remember for sure.
And Dave, was a third jersey something that was always on your radar, or did it just kind of come up in discussions?
Yeah, typically we do a third jersey in November time to commemorate like Veterans Day or Memorial Day or things of that nature within the GTHL, and we do a specialty like camo item for our kids. But this year, I remember Akil reaching out, and it was actually to my dad who passed along the info, but it was during the stoppage season. So it was a unique opportunity where we're like, you know what, this could go one step further and have a third jersey for the organization that can, represent his brand. And also one of the goals we wanted to do is bring back, attention from some of our great alumni, which he is. So it was a perfect opportunity to create, his design of a sweater into a jersey. And after we first started conversing and talking about it, and he sent over those initial designs, that's when it really came to fruition. We're like, this would be a really, really cool third jersey. And I think the kids would love representing this on the ice. And then having, whether it's their brothers or sisters or parents wearing the hoodie in the stands as well. So that's kind of how it continued to grow. And this year seemed to be the perfect opportunity, obviously celebrating our 90th, to commemorate some of the great work he's done in our organization, also some of our alumni, but just to feature, something also from a local business in Toronto, which is really cool. And to help out local businesses, it was something that we would thought could be go a long way for our group.
Well, and as you noted earlier, Akil, this was something that you had originally done with your former OHL club, the Niagara Ice Dogs. And this idea started out as, so to speak, a jersey hoodie. So how did the jersey hoodie turn into the design of a third jersey? Was there something that you were really hoping to accomplish with the jersey itself?
So with the Ice Dogs, our whole thought process was like, let's create like, because the Ice Dogs are a pretty new organization. So conversely, we were just like, maybe let's try like a vintage thing, because that'd be kind of cool, because they don't have vintage jerseys or throwback anything. So that's kind of how it happened on the Ice Dogs end. And I'm thinking from, like just creating something for the Marlies. I was like, well, it's their 90th anniversary. So the whole theme of it's like they've been around for so long. It would be cool to have like a vintage theme as well. And I think from there, they kind of just thought it was a pretty cool design for a national jersey. So that's kind of how it all came to fruition. And I mean, it's definitely going to be my favorite jersey.
And did the players know this was coming? Was it a surprise or anything like that?
No, it was a complete surprise. So that was, I think, the best moment for myself. Is we had a 90th celebration. It was actually one of the few events that we were able to get off this season with COVID stoppages. But it was during a Friday night home night at Canlan, and we presented each group with a quick video, just explaining the 90 years, but also featuring the collaboration. And then we presented each of the teams with their jerseys, and the kids, even the parents, were really ecstatic. We took great pictures. They loved it. They wore them that night on the ice. They were so excited. They were all hoping Akil would be there. That was the biggest question. Everyone was like, well, where is he? Is he coming out to give us these? And unfortunately, no. But it was a really, really great opportunity to see the kids just light up, and especially in a season that we've had so many stoppages and last year not playing. It's been a big highlight of this year for us and for all the kids.
No, that's great to hear. I know just watching the videos that I know were produced, you could tell that they were super excited to just wear that, and just goes to show the connection between the alumni that is there. And then obviously Akil, you're probably going to be hunted down for a few autographs on those, I'm sure, in a couple of years. But
yeah, what I thought was cool is we, like on our end, we got a bunch of messages from the players, from just like them taking pictures of them themselves, saying like we love these and stuff. So that was one of the coolest things for me, just to kind of see them kind of like what we both created.
well, and Dave mentioned the history of the Marlboros and how that was highlighted at the celebration a little bit. So for yourself, you were obviously a player. You were the captain of the under-18 AAA team back in 02-03. You've obviously coached the Marlboros for a number of years now. You're currently the head coach of the AAA U18s, as well as being the general manager of the club. What does the history with the Marlboros mean to you? And is there something specifically that sticks out to you as a huge significance?
I'll be honest, it means family to me. It's been a lot of my closest friends growing up, from the hockey players to the parents to the volunteers that have been around it. My family in particular has been helping out with the organization for about 36 years. My dad, obviously, as the past president and still helping with the tournaments, but it's family. And that's what the organization means to me. It's people like Akil and past players who have come in who always represent our group really well. But I remember, George Bell Arena or Canlan Ice Sports now, and even before that, it was North Toronto Arena, where we would have multiple teams play back to back to back, and you really built this community feel within one organization. You were proud to be a part of that, and that's where my love of the organization really came from. And a lot of my friends to this day are past Marlboros, and it's great to see the pro guys when we're in the dressing room, and they'll still make fun of each other if they played on different AAA teams. And if they won the OHL Cup or if they won a certain tournament at a certain age group. But the Marlboros for me really is a family environment. It's community oriented, and it's really brought a lot of the friendships and people that I know as an adult have come from that organization, and that's why I'm proud and to be a part of it. But it's really kind of been a part of my personal family and then extended hockey family for sure for many years.
And what did it mean for you, Akil, to be a Marlboro? And maybe does that change a little bit now looking back as an alumni?
No, it definitely doesn't change, but I would say just like kind of what Dave said, like just definitely a family, but also just like a legacy. I remember being like a kid from Florida who went to tournaments and saw like the Marlies play and like was just like, oh my God, like they're always the best teams, and you'd be sick to be one of those guys one day. And my dad actually played on the Marlies too, so growing up, like I always wanted to be a Marley, and came to Toronto when I was around 11. Went to the Nats, and it was the Nats and the Marlies. We were the top teams, And so I ended up making the switch to the Marlies, obviously. And just like looking back on our minor midget team, like we had me come from Florida, a kid come from Montreal, like families move from like cities literally just to wear that logo. So for me, it's just like to be a part of, a legacy, and I think the best minor hockey organization in the world. So it's definitely like there's so much to it.
Is there a moment from your career with the Marlboros that sticks out to you the most now?
Yeah, for sure. We lost the OHL Cup in double overtime, like in minor midget. So like that's something like we still have a group chat to this day, and we still like it's still a touchy subject for all of us, and we're like 22 now. Like this happened when we were 15, so like we're still like upset about it. Yeah.
Those stick with you, those losses, I think.
Yeah, actually, well, yeah.
And Dave, what about for you? Do you have any that stick out maybe on the winning side?
I've been privileged to be a part of watching them from the executive side. We've had a lot of great teams and great players come through the organization. So for me, there's a bunch of different memories. I do remember growing up watching Spezza play. He would always be after us at George Bell. Watching him, what was pretty outstanding. Growing up and be able to watch, obviously, the Tavares and Sam Gagne group go through the organization was a lot of fun. And McDavid too. I mean, his ripped jersey, I remember I was so embarrassed that he had a ripped jersey, and he just kept wearing it. And we're like, this is such a bad representation of what we wanted at the time, but it was a superstitious thing. No, we've had a lot of great moments along the way. And I remember the Holiday Classic tournaments just like packed with people. Don Cherry used to come out all the time to support the kids and be there. Rogers used to cover it a few times as well, and that's what it was really about, was just bringing opportunities and exposure for the kids. And so there's a lot of really positive memories that way as well for me.
And Akil, obviously there's still a lot for you ahead in your career on the ice, but how much do you attribute where you are today to your minor hockey career?
Oh, it's pretty much everything, to be honest. I mean, obviously, it's what I've done the last few years as well, but I wouldn't have been, drafted to the OHL, and wouldn't have had the skill set I had if it wasn't, for the development I had with the Marlies. I thought I had the best coaches, and I think the best coaches want to coach for the Marlies as well. So, yeah, I'm just, obviously super grateful for everything, and I just, yeah, I definitely. I'm super grateful for everything that I got out of going to Coquitlam on Sunday mornings.
Is there a moment so far in your career that maybe you're most proud of, or is a huge highlight reel? And I think we would probably have a couple of guesses at what that might be, but anyways.
Yeah, probably just the World Junior stuff for sure. Being on the biggest stage, just being able to do all that was my dream for sure. That was like almost the same level as becoming an NHL player. So that was definitely the highlight of my career so far.
Well, I did read, it was actually, I think it was written by your mom for Hockey Canada, and she notes that the morning of the gold medal game for the World Junior Championship, you actually sent her a text saying that you were going to score the winning goal of that game, and she says that you're big manifestors. So
yeah.
I don't know if you want to maybe elaborate on that pretty unique story a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, it started off, my buddy texted me saying you're going to score the game winner. And I for some reason, I just screenshotted it just because I was like, whatever. And then I just my mom and I kind of text before games, and that's kind of how I get, just feeling good and confident going into the game. So as a joke, I just kind of said I'm going to score today. So obviously I wanted to score, but it was more of a joke, more of like a superstitious thing that we just do. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I've used throughout my career, and even on the bench, I was kind of whispering it to myself, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it all worked out perfectly somehow, and I'm pretty, obviously thankful for that whole thing. It was unbelievable.
And in the minor hockey side of things, Dave, how big are moments like Akil's moment for an entire country? Do you see that still resonate with kids when it happens?
Oh, absolutely. And you hear it the next week in practice that everyone's trying to do the goal that, one of the boys has scored on TV. And a goal like that, the kids will all come in and they'll be arguing of who gets to play Akil in a practice drill, and that's what, why we do it as coaches, and we love it. And when it's an alumni, it's even more special because the kids see that linkage and they see that opportunity, and they see themselves and having that potential. They're like, well, he was here and he was here just a few years ago and he was wearing this jersey, playing these same games. So it's a very unique opportunity for us. And we love seeing that. And we try to celebrate all those moments of our alumni. But that definitely, for sure, you see the kids coming to practice the next day and next weeks, and they're all talking about it. And the buzz is around those types of goals for Canada. And then our kids trying to emulate it for sure.
Well, and I know Akil, even off the ice, just following through with your mom's message that she wrote for Hockey Canada, she also notes that a big question that she always asked was, what are you going to do with your success? And I think just even going back to your OHL career, it seems that you have always been big about contributing off the ice as well. And whether that's with Zale in the business world or just helping others where possible. So how important is it to you, while you're an example on the ice, obviously, to be that example for kids to have that purpose away from the rink too?
Yeah, I think it's massive. And like Dave said, for kids just to, see, me maybe score a big goal and to know that like I was wearing the same jersey, playing in the same rinks that they were doing, getting coached by the same people. Like, I think that's the most important. Just like, I want to, help inspire those kids that are younger and have a future ahead of them. And like, I want to be able to come back to Toronto whenever I can and hop on the ice with the team and just like be like, yeah, like I was doing the same thing, like keep going type of thing. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing for me. I have 3 younger siblings, so I think just naturally I grew up trying to help those younger than me with the future. So definitely something I'm going to be more involved with, as I get older and a little bit wiser.
Well, and I think we could say that you're pretty wise already. I mean, you've got a hockey career going and then a side business that's doing pretty well. So let's talk about Zale a little bit. How did that start? Give a little bit of background on that for those who might not know.
Yeah, well, it started when I was officially when I was 15, so would have been a Marley then, and it kind of started when I was like 13. It kind of started, I guess, me selling to my Marley teammates actually. And my school mates and everything. So I just started selling t-shirts when I was 13 and kind of snowballed into something a little bit bigger than that. And at 15 is when Zale officially started. And obviously when we're 15, you don't have, the resources and the capital to make it big. So now that I'm, as soon as I kind of hit 20, that's when we kind of started going all out on the Zale stuff. And obviously, we've been doing some pretty big things, and it's just kind of something I love to do, kind of away from the rink, and it kind of keeps me just kind of busy away from the rink, and so I like to think about hockey 24/7, so it's good to kind of have a distraction sometimes. But I mean, I love it, and I do it with some like my best friends, so it's awesome, and I'm really excited for kind of what the future has in store for Zale.
Obviously, there's some pretty cool projects that you've already done, like you mentioned, with the Niagara Ice Dogs, and now with the Marlies and the third jerseys, which are pretty awesome. But big picture is, do you set goals for yourself with Zale, or is it really just wherever this takes me, we'll see where it goes?
Yeah, I know, not too many goals right now. I mean, in terms of like business strategies and stuff like that, for sure. But in terms of like how big I want to scale it, not really. I mean, right now I'm kind of just focusing on, becoming an NHL player and just worrying about hockey first and kind of, juggling this whenever I have time to. So I think like if you were to ask me in, 15 years, maybe I'd have a different answer. But for now, we're just going to try to be better tomorrow than we were today type of thing.
Well, and I think that's one piece of really good advice, but just as you're on your own path and paving your own way, For the many Marlboros that are wearing the logo and many other hockey players looking up to you, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I mean, I would say just with pretty much anything you want to do, you gotta, work hard and work smart. Obviously, if you want to be a hockey player, you gotta work hard. But at the same time, like, I remember when I was younger, I kind of worked too hard and I overtrained. So just being smart with it and just really putting your mind to stuff is basically the only thing I really have to say. And yeah, if you work hard, if you work smart, and you're determined, I think you can literally do anything you want. And I think I'm a pretty good example of just that. I'm just like just another kid from Toronto as well. So yeah.
On the coaching side of things, Dave, obviously the GTHL and minor hockey is in a pause right now, but what do you think the biggest lesson you've learned so far in your coaching career has been?
Patience. I think patience big time this year is testing all of us. I think for me as a coach, it's been to be open and always take every year as a learning opportunity. Just as we're coaches, we're not coming in with all the knowledge. We're learning a lot from these younger players as well. And having conversations with them, treating them as if they're adults and professionals, and engaging with the youth and asking them how they see the game. I think you can see at the NHL level that the game is constantly changing, and it's changing by the players because they see the game. They have different skill sets. Their talents have been increasing. So as a coach, for me, I've been more engaged with the players. I've been asking them for insight, asking them how they see the game, why they do certain things, and expanding their knowledge just as much as I'm expanding mine. So that's been a big takeaway for me the last few years of coaching is just the pure excitement, the joy that these kids come to the rink with, but the talent that they have has been increasing, definitely since when I played, but it's been fun to be a part of. And I think they're learning a lot from these kids because their access to social media, they're watching clips probably more than us, highlight reels. They're pulling out different moves that we haven't seen, but they're glued to their phones or they're watching it amongst each other all the time. So it's a lot of fun to learn from these kids, and it gets them even more engaged where they're, helping to dictate practices or plays. And you just see them light up even more that they have the ability to contribute at that level too.
Well, and you mentioned engaging players, but just through this experience, and then obviously with the huge history and the list of alumni, how important do you think it is to continue moving forward, trying to engage the Marlboros alumni?
It's actually one of our main things. So with their new board that has just came on this year, they're alumni members, obviously, in John Tavares and Sam Gagner, but it's a big push for them. We want to get our alumni back engaged, in the community and to support and using them as resources. They're great players that have come through our organization, and we're very fortunate that they played and wore our jersey. So we have a lot to learn from them. And over the next couple of years, we hope to integrate them more into teaching opportunities for our coaches, for our players, have greater alumni events. And I think this 90th year and the partnership with Zale and Akil is kind of that first step for us. And it's really setting a high bar, which I love. And it's a good opportunity for all of our kids to see, the alumni are willing to give back and to be a part of this. So hopefully we can continue to grow that.
Well, this has certainly done a good stepping stone towards that with all that Akil has done with his jerseys. They look great. Hopefully we get back on the ice so we can see them with more opportunity to see them out there. Akil, we can't thank you enough for jumping on. We know with postponements and rescheduling and all that, it's scheduling anything is difficult in the hockey world. So we really appreciate your time. And then of course, Dave, we're really hoping to get back on the ice soon, but we thank you both so much for your time.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
And that concludes this episode of the GTHL's Breakout Podcast. We're looking forward to bringing you more off-ice stories just like this one.